What's on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. When I talk about the Snap mayhem, when I talk about the Snap, whatever happened to Doge, by the way? Did we just give up on Doge? 43 million Americans on Snap, baloney. The rampant H-1B nonsense that every American knows is happening, and it's stealing our jobs, it's stealing real estate. We just moved on from Doge now because Elon's not a part of it. Like, can we still worry about, waste, fraud, and abuse? Like, whatever happened to that? That'd be nice to bring back. Well, here's the absolute dark truth about Snap, and that it isn't 43 million Americans on it. It's probably 4 to 5 million Americans that actually need it, and it is millions of people taking advantage of it. I want to show you a brand new report that came out, as well as several other articles that will support this. And again, if you're in between jobs, you were laid off, you're legitimately physically disabled, mentally disabled, and you legitimately need Snap, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people that take advantage of it. If anything, the fewer people taking advantage of it might mean higher payments for the people that actually need it. The whole thing is ridiculous. Look at this. A jaw-dropping revelation. Secretary Brooke Rollins found 5 million dead people receiving Snap. Now, just so you understand who those dead people are, it's not the 5 million that are dead that are receiving it. It's their family that are still stealing the money from the U.S. government and using that Snap. An additional 500,000 people getting Snap 2 times under the same name. So that's 1 million, by the way, because those 500,000 people are committing fraud. They should be removed from the program immediately. So between doubling up on Snap and the dead, that's 6 million out of 43 million already. Was it 12, 13%? That's just what they've confirmed. Listen to this stuff. Also, very big announcement coming next week on this. There's a plan to fix it. Let's look at this brief interview here.
And 20 plus others did not, and we're suing. We're in a litigation right now. But of the 29 that complied, what we have found is staggering.
This is just the states. You know what I mean? Just the states. There are dozens of states that have refused to be audited, and I think all federal funding to those states should be immediately stopped. It should be immediately stopped until they agree to the Snap audit. We need more balls in our leadership. Like, that's it. People can get mad. I mean, Trump, he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. If you don't agree to the Snap audit, you don't get any Snap funds. And then when your millions of citizens want to know where their Snap funding is, you tell them to take it up with their governor or their state officials who are refusing these audits.
500,000 people getting benefits 2 times under the same name. 5,000 dead people. 80% of the able-bodied.
Wait, 5,000. They said, I said 5 million earlier. My apologies. 5,000 dead. Sorry. 500,000 double dipping.
Americans, meaning they can work. They don't have small children at home.
Listen to this part. This is the part.
80% of the able-bodied Americans, meaning they can work. They don't have small children at home. They're not taking care of an elderly parent. They can work and they choose not to work, of course, because they're getting significant benefits from the taxpayer.
80% of Snap recipients are able to work. Think about that. 80% out of 43 million. Some simple math. If we just, we're talking about, 35 million. 35 million people already could be working. I mean, if I had this video yesterday that I was going to share. Where is this? I've been on X too much. I need to use it less. Here. How about this? People are getting their Snap benefits back. Here's somebody who's apparently physically unable to work.
$0. Your Snap balance is $582.
It's lit.
What?
Put your sneakers on.
It's lit.
Put your shoes on.
EBT, EBT, EBT. Hey. EBT, EBT, EBT. Hey. Chicken and cheese, BLT. Chicken and cheese, the BLT. The BLT. The BLT. EB, motherfucking T. EBT. EBT.
By the way, if you're on EBT long term and you have pets, I wonder, by the way, another obese person on Snap, You did hit that Running Man pretty good. Before Biden, we had 17.1 million people on Snap. After Biden, 41 million people. That's a 30 million person increase. I mean, again, what's happening?
So this light, Laura, that has now been shined on what is perhaps one of the most corrupt.
Thanks to the shutdown, by the way. Thanks to the shutdown. That's the only reason people had any idea how bad this was.
Dysfunctional programs in American history that we are working now. Very big announcements coming next week on this. We are cracking down. We now have a plan to fix it. And we're really, really excited about doing that for the American people.
When? Here's how I agree. They didn't give everyone a 30-day notice to reapply or lose their benefits so we can clean up the system. That's what I agree. Just literally cut everyone off and make them reapply. The end of the government shutdown won't stop the SNAP mayhem. As the government reopens, efforts to return the SNAP program to full funding across the country will face its own challenges. SNAP benefits have been put through the ringer since expiring at the start of November, with back-to-back court rulings going all the way up to the Supreme Court, alternately reinstating and then blocking full issuance of benefits. Most recently, the Supreme Court allowed SNAP benefits to be paused, extending until this Thursday, that's today, with Justice Kenjati DEI Brown Jackson publicly dissenting, of course. Before benefits expired, states' preemptive actions varied, meaning full SNAP benefits could take another week or more to reach people in some places. Well, they probably have to go to work. Maybe they just have to go to work. I mean, again, are there people who are legitimately in need of SNAP benefits? Yes. Okay, and I don't judge them for it. Everyone needs a little help every once in a while. How about this article from, today? Mississippi woman arrested for receiving $25,000 in SNAP fraud. According to Mississippi Department of Human Services, Victoria Reese received $25,700 in SNAP benefits by allegedly not reporting her household income and composition accurately. How many people out of 43 million are doing this? I mean, just raw numbers would tell you tens of thousands. Tens of thousands. Midland woman faces possible life sentence in food stamp fraud. This article yesterday. Stealing food assistance from a Midland man. A Midland woman was recently convicted of a year-long thievery using his SNAP card and collecting the reward points for herself. Amanda Cunningham, 36, was convicted on November 5th in Midland County Circuit Court following a 3-day trial and faces life in prison as a fourth offense habitual offender. Cunningham was convicted of food stamp fraud over $1,000, embezzlement from a vulnerable adult over $1,000, stealing and retaining a transaction device without consent. Cunningham defrauded the victim, who was in his mid-50s at the time of the crime. Cunningham remains free on a $5,000 personal recognizance bond. She'll be in the wind. She's not going to get life in prison. But I mean, from one federal taxpayer-funded program to another. How about this article from Check's Notes 2 days ago? Federal agents recover $100,000 in alleged SNAP benefit scam as 42 million Americans wait for food aid amid shutdown. You can't restart this program until you've completed an absolutely full and complete audit. Exchanging the SNAP benefits for cash is the most common form of trafficking for the SNAP program. Brad Porcilli, U.S. Secret Service Special Agent, told Fox News 5 in Cleveland. The bust was culminated, the culmination of an 11-month-long investigation involving the Secret Service's Money Laundering Task Force and the United States Department of Agriculture and the Ohio Investigative Unit, which enforces Ohio's ATF and SNAP assistance fraud laws. There were around 17,000 illegal transactions that took place in this period of time. In that context, the U.S. government's $93 million annual spend on SNAP, recovering 100,000 may not sound like much, but every scam siphons resources away from nearly 42 million Americans who rely on the program. Well, there aren't 42 million Americans who rely on the program. That's a lie. Walmart shopper simply decides to steal and just blames SNAP for it. A Leesburg woman will appear in court for skip scanning. It's just stealing. $25 in food because she cannot pay for it all without food stamps. She's a 20-year-old on food stamps. Why are you on food stamps at 20? In the footage, she was seen skip scanning items before she bagged them. She started only by scanning 6 out of 12 jars of Bertilio Alfredo sauce. You needed a dozen jars of Alfredo sauce? I think she's reselling those. That's what I think. She did the same with 3 packets of Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning and 2 of the 3 boxes of rotini pasta. In total, she did this with $30 worth of food. Again, Walmart doesn't care because they just pass the cost back on to the people that are actually paying for their stuff. Again, if you know your account is low, why would you get 12 of anything? Because she's probably selling it. Alfredo sauce is expensive. SNAP needs to completely be reformed. I'm sick of it. This country is being robbed blind by the lazy. If there's 5 or 10 million Americans who actually need it, fine even. Okay. But I don't believe 43 million is anywhere near the real number. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.